the Chase Thomas Podcast, for people who have nothing but time to kill.
And what's one thing you would like to see him get better at going into his second season under Rick Barnes on Rocky Top?
Yeah, what I liked, I mean, he didn't play a single game, I think, except for one more than, I think maybe Norfolk State he played a little more than 10 minutes, but he didn't play more than 15 minutes all year. So, I mean, it's obviously tough for him to get in the groove. He's behind AD the entire time. I liked his relationship with with Zakai as the season grew along. You could tell he became a bit of a lob threat. He was figuring some post moves out. I mean, obviously, just as a freshman, it was impressive to see him going out there and looking competent against teams with a pulse. I believe he had 7 points against Florida. He played respectably well against Zach Edey, probably the best of the three big men in the tournament. I mean, he outplayed Jonas Adu in the second half. He gave Tennessee a chance. You know, obviously Edey still got his, but it was still impressive to see him be able to do that with Adu obviously into foul trouble. What I'd like to see more going into this year, obviously you got Felix coming in out of Ohio State, and he's just a more athletic version of Jonas Adu, slightly more efficient at the rim. Doesn't quite have the shot outside the rim that Adu has, but that never really developed the way it was supposed to anyway. Can't shoot the three, but he's an excellent defender. So I'd like to see Estrella come in, learn just like 10 feet away from the basket, some offense that can help, because I don't know where Tennessee's going to get that from a big man. I don't know who's going to be able to develop points if it's not Estrella, because I mean, as good as Okpara was at Ohio State, and obviously he doesn't have Zakai's Igor getting him the ball, his ability to develop outside of a lob threat and outside of, basic post up, it's exactly what Adu was. It's the exact same problem you have there. So yeah, I'd love to see Estrella develop his offensive game more. I'd love to see him put more, not effort. I think he's putting plenty of effort, but put an emphasis on rebounding as well. I don't think he had a game all season where he had more than 3 rebounds. And I mean, like I just said, he went over 10 minutes of play like once, maybe all season. But yeah, that's what I'd like to see. The offensive game with him, I feel like there is a lot of potential there. I think he's quick. I think he's learning how the offense works. I think he's learning how to work around with Zakai and obviously Gainey and the guys that are going to be able to get him the ball linear. Obviously, is going to be one of those guys, but it'll be fun to watch. I think the battle between him and Felix is going to be more so than people are thinking. Well, I think he's going to get a decent amount of minutes, and he's going to be an important piece for the Vols this year. Will he be an impact piece? I don't know. We'll see. That would be great if he could be, but he's going to be playing a lot of minutes.
I still won't roll out him starting. I
don't think that's a crazy take.
I think it's just going to depend on how much Barnes trusts the transfers as starters and high minutes guys out of the gate. Like, I could still just see Barnes leaning on the in-house guys he knows, and easing the transfers in. Some of them are obviously going to start, like that's how this is going to go. But I just don't see DeBar, Okpara, and Igor and Chaz all starting. Like, I don't see Barnes going 4 transfers starting next to Zakai.
Well, I don't think there's anybody that would think that.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. I think it's probably gonna be like 2, and I think even 2 might be the max here. Because I think Jemai's a lock to start. I think Zakai is a lock to start. Chaz is a lock to start.
Yeah.
And then Igor, it seems like will. And then if you're going Igor, Estrella is just a different kind of look. And I don't know, maybe it's for his confidence. You start off kind of like a folky type thing where you just kind of, I don't know, like you build his confidence, and like he finished strong. And I like Estrella a lot. And Okpara, maybe he's not a big minutes guy. We'll see with fouls and everything else. I don't know. Like, I don't know how Okpara is going to fit right away in this Tennessee scheme. I don't know. I just think people who are penciling in Okpara, I'm like, I still like Estrella, and Estrella was a huge get for Barnes 2 years ago. And I don't know. I'm buying a lot of Estrella stock. I would not be surprised if he still gets more start. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Estrella started more games than Okpara next season.
Go ahead and pencil Okpara into the starting lineup. Don't pin him in, but pencil him in. And you're looking at it, with all due respect, you're looking at it from the completely wrong perspective here. You're looking at it from he's the newcomer. What you should be looking at it is what Rick Barnes values, which is defense and rebounding, and he's light years ahead of JP Estrella, those two things. Yeah. And for Tennessee, with a lot new offensive pieces, all these transfers besides him are offensive pieces, and you have questions about the defense. Yeah. The glue that's going to keep Tennessee in the top 5 defensively
There's certainly a lot to learn. I mean, Estrella had his flashes. He played well against Edie. He played well against Florida. I mean, but like we need more reps from the guy. I would agree with Ryan. I said a little second ago that it wasn't a crazy take. I think Ryan laid it out perfectly. He's already switched me over. I feel like it has to be Felix for that reason alone.
And I think that's almost the curious part, going back to your original question, Chase, of like, where do you want to see him grow? Because I think if you want him to be able to be a starter or be a guy that can play closing minutes, it's very clearly he's got to get a lot better defensively on the boards. He was just not very good in either of those areas last year, and the limited minutes he played. But the block rate was like 2%. The offense and defensive rebound rates 8%. I mean, in comparison, I don't even think Jonas Day was a great rebounder, and he was 12.5 and 19.5 at those two spots. So he's got to get a lot better there. Now, what I really like about what Tennessee did here is I think those two guys' games complement each other really well, because I think JP Estrella is a much better offensive player and is a guy that you could very easily be a dude Tennessee can throw the ball down to in the paint and can get in buckets with relative consistent rate. So I think that's almost kind of the curious question. If you're looking for him to be the perfect complement to Okpara, and you think Okpara could be the true starter, and you're looking for a big man off the bench that can give you a big spark offensively, it's go and fine-tune that offensive game. I think Ethan's point about a guy that can hit a shot from 10 feet is really important, because Okpara has not shown his ability to do that. But if you're looking for a guy that could potentially play 25 minutes a game and really be a guy you lean super, super heavily on as playing co-starter minutes or maybe starter minutes, I think it's got to be him improving defensively and on the glass.
I like it. Jack Foster, what can the good folks check out from you and the team over at Omaha Productions this week?
Can I say something real fast before I answer that question?
Yeah.
I think it's been maybe over a dozen times in this 62-minute podcast so far, Ryan has made this face while you're talking. At least 10, maybe
Wait,
like 15. Yes,
me?
While you're talking, Ryan makes this.
I made it once to Ethan Stone. I made it once to Ethan when he said something about the Bears' backup quarterback situation, and I didn't get the opportunity, but I was going to make the joke about how I was in Soldier Field last year when Tyson Bagent won a game. So
it was electric.
The Bears can win with some bad quarterbacks.
Deontay Foreman legacy game.
I thought Tyson was the truth. I know exactly the game you're talking about. I thought he was the truth, dude.
Panthers, right?
He was doing crazy stuff, and I was like, this kid, he's got it. And then the next game, he was terrible.
It was basically was it Will McBride? Is that the kid's name that started at quarterback in 2017, a couple games for Tennessee? Is that the kid I'm thinking about?
What year?
2017, Butch's last year. He threw that touchdown pass. He stood in the pocket on like a 4th down and threw a beautiful touchdown ball to cut the deficit to like 21-17 at Missouri, and Tennessee lost that game like 56-17. Got just the door flooded off. Yeah, but at the time, it like kind of made the game relatively close, like late in the first half. And there were so many Tennessee fans he was like an undersized white kid, real small recruit, and there were a ton of Tennessee fans like, this kid's got moxie. I like him. That was Ethan with Tyson Bagent after his one good game last year.
Hey, Tyson Bagent was better than Justin Fields, so
honestly,
nothing will ever top the moxie belief in Harrison Bailey. There's still Tennessee fans right now that are like, Harrison just didn't get a shot, man. Like Harrison is the prince who was promised. Like, I'll never forget the fans screaming during the Pitt game for I guess almost 4 years ago or 3 years ago now. Just Harrison, where's Harrison? Like fans losing their minds around me for Harrison Bailey. Like Harrison Bailey is an all-time legendary Tennessee quarterback for so many fans.
He might have had to have one of the worst careers of a 5-star quarterback ever. He's a walk-on at Louisville. He was the backup quarterback at UNLV going into a team that won like one game the year before. And he was a 5-star. All due respect to Harrison Bailey, I'm sure he's a good guy. If you're listening, man, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. That was mean, but just an observation I had.
It's not even mean. It's just real. Like, that's just facts. Like, you're just pointing out his timeline. That's the college football timeline of Harrison Bailey. Like, that's just it. Goodness gracious. But Harrison Bailey, an all-timer.
Yeah.
I was a Brian Maurer dude. Like, you cannot tell me Brian Maurer's not a dude.
Yeah.
Brian Maurer forever.
I would have been
the first
time
I was on this podcast was me and Chase bonding over being Brian Maurer guys, like entering the 2019 season or 2020
chaos.
season.
Like, we were all about it. Like, Brian Maurer was just everything I want in a college quarterback. The man feared nothing. He was fully capable of diving anywhere, throwing the ball wherever he wanted to go. He had some Stetson Jet to him. There was some Stetson Bennett to Brian Maurer, many are saying.
Apparently, Brian Maurer was a menace at T-Rex playing basketball. Like,
I could see that.
He was not very good, and he would get cooked, and he'd get so mad.
Oh, I thought you were saying he actually was good. That was the opposite of what you were saying there.
Like a menace as in, like, throwing fits.
Okay.
He quit the team in fall camp of 21 because, like, you know, they go into it like it's going to be a 4-person battle for the starting job, and he was like the first one to get cut. They told him like quickly he wasn't going to start. He quits the team, but he goes to Tennessee that whole semester. I had a class with him. That was my senior year, and he played intramural football, and I think on just a random team, and he threw an interception. There is somewhere out there is a Kappa Sig that picked off Brian Maurer in Tennessee intramural football when he was still on a football scholarship, I'm sure, for the rest of that semester.
Some psychology major. Just some guy.
He tried to thread the needle over the middle, and he jumped in front of it.
You know, it's funny, and I will end it here. When I played intramural football, flag football back in undergrad at North Georgia, there was a kid who, there must just be something about me, but I ran an out route, and like I could feast in some flag football. Like me at the peak of my, like, just we're going full on Wes Welker here. Like there's just I know my role, and that's what's happening. I'm devastated.
You look like Jordy Nelson though.
Not at the time. Not at the time.
I'm saying, like, you're.
He's bald.
Be a little bit more direct, Jack. What are you? Huh?
If I speak, I'm in big trouble. Never mind.
I don't. Okay, I just didn't know where you're going with that, Jack. I don't know.
I think you do, but we'll stop it there. Ryan said,
"What a program! What a program!" But anyway, long story short, he like the guy just like completely forgets we're playing flag football and full on picks me up off the ground, like full on wrap up, and drives me into the ground. And when you talk about like you ever just pick up a cup that's full and you thought was empty and you're like, whoa, it just completely catches you off guard. That's what it was like getting tackled in a flag football game, where you're like, that's not on my radar. I never thought that was something that I had to think about at 3:00 in the afternoon in between classes. But that is something I had to think about in this dirt field. And he slammed me, and he like immediately apologized. He's like, I'm so sorry. I played football in high school, and my instincts took over there and saw you over the middle and just was not letting that happen. And I was like, it's okay. Just a little jarring. Like, it's fine. Like, I'm all right.
Ribs are cracked, but we're good.
Oof. Goodness gracious. Flag football, though, intramural back in the day, it's a good time. Flag football is a fun time. Anyway, long story short, Jack Foster, Omaha Productions, what...
Nicely done, nephew. The Chase Thomas podcast. Hell yeah.